Preparing to live stream the meeting. Setting up. Done. Redirecting to Facebook Live.
Ooh.
Here we go.
Oh, look. Yay. Let's see if we got, I'm reloading my site. So the women in the, here we are. Awesome. Okay. So the good news is we made it. We're here. Set the stage just a tad this morning. So I'm at the summer cottage. I'm up in Washington State. And I was just telling Michael, which everybody, you'll meet Michael in a minute, and she's amazing. Yay. That this really expensive Comcast and Xfinity that I pay for has been going out every hour. So they'll come tomorrow apparently, and I have a new modem coming and yada, yada, yada. But I've given Michael control in case I go missing. So all of you can listen to her brilliance and her greatness. So I met Michael, I want to say 2019, 2020.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It was after I published this great book of mine.
Yes.
Unstuck Yourself, The Guide to Designing a Life You Love. Amazon bestsellers. Prime Days, everybody, you should buy a book. You should buy one of my books. Anyway, I'm teasing. So Michael has got some phenomenal businesses, a couple of companies, if I'm right. And you interviewed me on your podcast, Shock Your Potential. So the fact that we get to have her brilliance today and not have to pay to go hear her speak, pretty amazing, pretty cool. So thank you for that. So welcome, Michael. Good morning.
Good morning.
How's Texas?
Texas is hot. It is so hot. People said, oh, you're going to love Houston in the summer. And I'm like, how bad can it be? Well, summer started probably in April. And now for the last, 15 days, and at least the next 15 days, we're having heat indexes of 108 to 118 every day.
It's super humid.
So hot.
No,
so hot.
Yeah.
And so it's like, you know how there's places where you can live, like Bellingham area, where, you can't ride your bike as easily during some months of the time. And like when we lived in Philadelphia, couldn't really ride our bikes outside from November through February. Here, I think you can't ride your bike between June and September. That's what I've determined. Okay,
well, it's way worse where you are, just so you know. You're a little, just kidding. That's a buildup. No, I mean, we're going to do, and your husband's got a great opportunity. So you do that. Right. I have a client, good friend who's there, and she's actually from Northern Canada. And then I met her in Whistler. And then I don't know what she's doing because this is why I'm in Bellingham, Washington. Michael mentioned it. It's why I'm in Washington because, you all know I live in Cabo San Lucas full time. And it's stormy and it's hot and it's sweaty this time of year. So I'm out. Anyway, let's get to you. Let's talk about your brilliance. And what are you going to share with our amazing women today?
Well, I thought, given what your purpose is with this group, I thought I would just talk a little bit about resilience. And so you're right. I am a speaker. In fact, I'm going to be in your neck of the woods here in a couple of weeks. I'm doing a speaking engagement in Seattle at the end of the month. And so my business, if you looked at what I did before COVID, 100% of my business was me getting on an airplane to go somewhere in the world and speak on leadership and sales and the customer experience. So I love your promotion of your book. I've got 2 of my own, and my third one will be out late this year.
Congratulations. Make sure and come back and put in the comments, please, all your yummy stuff, but go ahead.
Can't wait. But, So when COVID hit, 2020, I had the most beautiful lineup of speaking engagements. And I was really excited because I was hired to speak in Melbourne, Australia. And I'd been to Australia, but my husband never had been. So we were so excited about that trip, which of course, everything got canceled and everything, the world stopped. And so did my business. Because when you build a business on one income source, you put yourself in danger. It's a risk. It's a high risk. And I knew that, but things were going really well and I loved it. And it was everything I wanted to do. So, you think about different things. I remember sitting there going, what if I broke my leg and actually couldn't travel for 6 months? What would that be? What would that do to my business? So I probably should think about diversifying. And yet I didn't. And when COVID hit and everything just fell out from underneath me, like it did for everybody else, I think it's almost like I crawled in bed and stuck my thumb in my mouth and, cried and just said, where do I go from here? Like I have this huge, background in business. I've managed hundreds and hundreds of employees at a time. I've got all this experience and wisdom to share. I knew I had more that I wanted to do. My second book had just come out. And I had to say, what am I going to do? What is my next step? Am I going to just feel sorry for myself? Am I going to just wait till this is over? Because, it's supposed to be over in 6 weeks. It's going to be fine. Or am I going to do something different? And I actually at that time doubled down on my business. So as you know, my whole team is remote. So I have virtual employees that are all based in Kenya. And so we did two things. I actually doubled the size of my team in COVID. So I invested in everything and I said, okay, we're going to dive in. We're going to work on our branding. We're going to work on programs. We're going to add some services. And we started actually doing podcast management services for people. And we were helping run customer service management for a very large restaurant chain, for instance, where, my team was going in there every day and, commenting on people's posts on OpenTable or DoorDash, that type of thing. So we diversified a lot in that. And then I actually started a second company at that time called WooHoo, where we were making placements with people with their virtual assistants. So over time, those things not only kept my business afloat, but it helped us to grow and it helped us to really kind of achieve a different kind of outcome. But in the back of my mind, I was like, this is still not exactly what I want this to be. This is not exactly where I want it to go. And as speaking and training started to come back and we were able to kind of let some of our clients go, some it was just the right time, some we actually said, we're going to phase out these services. It became very clear to me what brought me joy. And that's where I wanted to talk about resilience.
Thank you.
The business decision to diversify and do all those things was survival. And so sometimes survival is what you have to do.
Great motivator, unfortunately.
Yes. And to your concept of unstuck yourself, you can also become stuck in a part of resilience that's about survival. And you can think, well, maybe that you can be stuck in a job when you really want to be an entrepreneur. You can be stuck in a job when you want to do something else or a different job. You can be stuck as an entrepreneur when you're doing something that you think you have to do. Right. And sometimes you do have to do those things. But it's a really great place to be able to then take that deep breath and say, but what really brings me joy? And why is that important? And, it's, I think and I'll talk a little bit about, where we're going, because I think it's really fun. But, for people that are in this group, it's such a great opportunity to be networking and interacting with people who want to do it right. So especially if they're entrepreneurs, they didn't leave jobs because oh, okay, I'm just going to go be crazy. They did it because they wanted to have joy.
Yes. It's funny that you say that because I have a business coach and we're part of a legacy leader. And there's a couple of things that happen there is that one of your businesses that I got to work through and use, the WooHoo, also was a wonderful service. There was some legacy in that. There was a beautiful service. anyway, and so it wasn't all about the money, and boy, does this just give me joy. There was good in it for others. So that's
Yes.
an incredible piece of that puzzle, the Michael puzzle. I think another thing is to bring up to what brings you joy. It was actually, I built my business pretty big last year. I went big. And you know what I realized? I don't want to go big. I don't want to work that hard.
Right.
I don't want to work that hard. So believe it or not, I'm still big, but I'm big at 15 hours a week. That's
Yeah.
that's what brings me joy. And my coach asked me, what brings you joy?
Yes.
Serving
Yes.
women in business brings me joy.
Yes.
The women that are sandwiched between the aging parents and the kids and the husband and the home and the business and the having to make, that fires me up. So
Yes.
thank you. So to your point, I'm going to ask everybody as they listen to this and on replay or whatever, write down that question. What brings me joy?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry to interrupt you. It's just that's such a
No.
huge piece, Michael.
And I'm glad you chimed in because it's really important that we talk about it. I think especially as women. And I love when you just shared that you went big and then you're like, wait a minute, that's not what I want. But sometimes then we get people to have expectations of us that we think we now have to live up to. And I've been having this conversation with my husband because he's like, oh, hey, now how's it going with this? And why don't you take on new clients? And I'm like, whoa, no, that's not where I'm going. I made a choice, a conscious choice to chase more joy. So when speaking engagements started to come back and come back full, I found out, okay, I still love doing that, but
and you're really good at it.
thank you. I love it. It jazzes me. It's like better than any drug I could possibly take. When I get off a stage or I get done with a workshop with people, like that is a high that I can get nowhere else.
Awesome.
But I can't always do that. So there's only so many hours in the day. There's only so many places I can be. And now to your point about saying, my big is 15 hours a week. My husband and I are at the point where we're under 10 years till he retires. He's got more opportunities that he can travel overseas. And I want to be there. I want to go because it's easy to go as a +1 and work from anywhere, which means I can't have my business once again be dependent on just that, getting on an airplane and go.
Thank you. You and I have that in common. That's why I moved to Mexico. I got tired of the travel. And as much as I love speaking, I like doing it this way too. So I can just serve this way. Please continue. Okay.
Yeah. So when I took a look at my business, I said, okay, so this is what we know we want to do. We want to have something where I can still have that joy of the teaching and I can do it in a way that also builds opportunity. So we are actually you're going to be like one of the first people to hear this. We are actually going to rebrand my entire company. So my company name right now is Shock Your Potential. And that has done very well for me. It's been fun. People, they are excited about it. They're curious about it. But my passion is in creating enlightened leaders and enlightened employees. So everything I do is about how we communicate and how we reflect on ourselves and make adjustments. So all of a sudden, my third book that was in motion with a different title and a different focus that wasn't feeling right, I said, now here's the pivot point. I'm not writing about what I want to write about. I want to write about being an enlightened leader and an enlightened employee and why there's two sides to every story, but we tend not to listen to the other story because we tell ourselves our own crap, like this is all I can believe. So we are going to be making this transition. So my third book will be called The Enlightened Leader and the Enlightened Employee. If you follow me on LinkedIn, you will find that every Tuesday now I'm posting these things called Dear Bad Boss letters. So I'll start out with like, Dear Bad Boss, your meetings suck. Why do you require me to be 5 minutes early, but sometimes you're not 5 minutes, sometimes you're late, or sometimes you wait to start the meeting for people who are already late. And why am I doing this? And then it's followed up with, Dear Bad Employee, why don't you engage more in our meetings? I trust you are my most valued employee, but you sit there quietly. I need you to be a leader for others. And so it's talking about that our perceptions aren't reality.
I'm super excited. I'm super excited. I'm so excited. Sorry. Just go ahead.
So what we've been doing, we've done a soft launch for several months. So we have I have a community. So this is my first real foray into a community. So we have a weekly live session. We have a group. It's not like a Facebook group. It's on a different platform where we call it the virtual water cooler. So getting people to engage in their content. So it's all these pieces coming together. It will tie and merge with the book, but I'm going to take like a roundabout statement with this is Cuckoo Biz, where we were matching virtual assistants with people like you all over the world. That was you're right. It's a great effort, but we had a missing piece. We didn't have a lot of people like you that were long-term committed, that really wanted to develop your person, and that, that we knew that your talent was doing great. We had mixes. We had some people that were great connections. We had some talents, we call them talents, that weren't the greatest. We had all these different dynamics, and I kept feeling like I know I can't control everything, but there's something missing in what I'm controlling. And so what we will be doing later this year is we will relaunch a version of that, but we won't actually manage the placements. We will certify employees from Kenya primarily. And that certification will mean that they have gone through our Enlightened Employee certification course.
Brilliant.
So it'll be a mini thing. And then we will require somebody like you to take the Enlightened Leader course. And we're not talking about a lot. And then all I ask of somebody like you who says, hey, I want to have somebody to work with, is that you take the course, and then when we match you with the person, or you find the right match, that you fund them staying in the ongoing community.
Right.
Because then that's development for them. And then I know what we've got. So we have these pieces that are going to be mutually beneficial now.
So we're going to squirrel for a second. We're going to go this way and come back.
Love squirrel.
So I'm a life coach for leaders. So I'm not really, yes, I can help in business strategies, and I can help, like you know my story. I've also managed hundreds and hundreds, and lots of people, blah, blah, blah. But I really just love getting into the life of my leaders. I really love supporting them on the stuff that they can't talk to their husbands about. Well, they can, but we don't get advice from our parents or our spouses or our employees. Right. About things, you know what I mean? It's come to a mentor, work with, someone that is your trusted advisor, right? Right. Here's where I'm going with this. Oh, did I freeze?
You froze, but I still hear you.
Oh, good. Okay. Well, that's good. Thank you. You guys are being nice today. Anyway, so where I want to go with that is many of the women in this platform are solopreneurs, or they only have a couple of employees. I only have 2 ladies. So when I say only, it's not to minimize, but let me tell you what Michael's telling you is that you need to learn how to manage. You might be very good at your job. Yes. But if you don't know how to inspire, manage, create a culture, create a safe environment, create an environment of, not bad competition, by the way, not bad competition. Right. We compete against ourselves, but there is a bit of, an environment where your team are on the right seat on your bus. Yes. Right. So that's what Michael's talking about. And so it's brilliant that you're creating that, because a lot of people don't know how to lead. They don't know how to lead. And they hire somebody and they go, well, it's common sense. How come they don't know that? Because you're the business owner. They are the worker bee. Thank God for worker bees. Yes. Yes. Thank God for the people that get really excited about doing the stuff that I don't want to do. Yay. No. But you have to inspire, love, nurture, grow them if you'd like them to stay. Well, and just because, to your point and my background, both of our backgrounds, just because you have managed 500 or more people at a time doesn't mean that that's how you manage one person or 5. That's vastly different. Yes. Sorry, I get so excited. No, it's perfect. I love it. I think it is. It's excite worthy. Right. Well, and it's also to your point, again, I'm taking us off your topic, but I think you will help them understand their need. Hire in your area of genius, or hire someone in their area of genius, a place where they thrive. And then really your leading of them is just honoring them in their space and their genius. And
Yeah.
they don't think like you. For God, we don't hire people like us. Please don't hire people like us. Don't do it. You need that roundness. So thank you. Okay.
Well, and what I'm so excited about with this is the opportunity to really, I'm going to push people's buttons a little bit to say, and that's what I'm having fun with these Dear Bad Boss letters, is that people read the headline of my LinkedIn post, are like, Dear Bad Boss, oh, I want to read that. And so then they read it, and sometimes they'll say, oh, I had somebody actually who responded to one a couple weeks ago, and it was about expectations and training and development. So it was about, dear bad boss, you hired me, you left me alone, I don't know if I'm doing a good job, and then it's like, dear bad employee, you told me you were a self-starter and you could get going, and I need you. You don't know how badly I need you. And I had this gentleman respond, and his first response was, this is obviously a toxic work environment. And so I was giggling because I'm like, this is totally facetious. However, it's kind of a culmination of every situation any of us have ever had. But what I thought was, I want to go have a counseling session with this guy, because clearly he's had a traumatic experience where somebody didn't train him and support him and develop him. And that is his first reaction. And so when I say push people's buttons, I want to push people's buttons to say, if you read one of those and immediately say, oh, I know how they feel, then that's when you really need to read the other side and say, oh, that's how they feel.
Michael, it's brilliant. I can't wait. You have to put the LinkedIn, everything in the comments, because I'm so excited about this. I can't tell you how many times my clients and I have that conversation.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be leading them to you.
Well, and the other element, as I've found, especially with my team in Kenya, and it's not just a Kenya thing, it's a world thing, but I found it a lot with my team. We still work on it all the time, is this hesitancy to ask questions. I don't want to be seen as not knowing what to do. So I'm just going to go, whatever you've asked me to do, I'm going to go Google it and, or look at a video on YouTube, or they just are quiet and waiting for more. And I'm like, no, you have to ask questions, because I don't know if you're missing things. On the flip side, if I'm not giving you enough direction, let me know. Let's communicate together. So, people are always saying, what's your mission? And, what are you doing? And for many years, I think I just struggled with it, because I'm like, well, I teach people to communicate better. All right, that sounds great. But what I really now understand, kind of the boiled down essence of what makes me know I make a difference, is when I can have somebody say, okay, I really learned something in my discussion after I took your tools and put them into place. And I learned something I did not know about my employee, about my boss, about my colleague, about my husband. And it's that forcing us to slow down, boil down, and be really attentive. And so that's why when I said, am I just going to stop with the VA business, or am I going to rework it to make it more magical? And when I brought that magic to it, we're not ready to fully do it yet, but we're really close. And the fun part of it is that I've asked my whole team, going back now, those of you, especially who worked with me for 3-4 years, what do you wish I would have done differently? Tell me what I need to do differently now. Tell me what you wish you would have been trained in. How can we develop this better for the next person? And how can we make sure that when we help these matches to happen, that everybody benefits?
So a couple of things. There's a thing that I have learned, is that a lot of us have a bit of an ego in work. We have a bit of an ego, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm this summer I've decided, so I'm to my 15 hours
Oh, I think you froze there a little bit. Uh-oh. I'll just keep talking. I know you're there somewhere. 15 hours a week. Before we wait for Samantha to come back, if she unfreezes, my name is Michael Sherlock. You can find me on LinkedIn at Michael A. Sherlock. You can find me at shockyourpotential.com. My email is michael@shockyourpotential.com. So love to drop a note and connect. And unfortunately, I think we have her frozen. So looks like, I don't know if we have any questions from the group, anything going on. I don't see a live chat. Oh, I do see a live chat. Don't see anything going on in there. That's okay. Oops. And we lost Samantha, everybody. So now it's the Michael Sherlock show. I'm sure she'll pop back in. We'll give her a minute. So let's see, since I have the microphone all to myself and I have a few minutes left before I have to wrap up and move to my next meeting. If you also, I don't know, I know I've taken a look at a lot of members of the group and what you guys have going on, but if there's any way I can be of service, help me. Hey, I just kept talking.
That's what you're meant to do. That's what thank you. That's how we set it up. Anyway, I just want how in alignment we are with what's going on in the world. And I want this for the women. And I don't know, this book may suck, but the premise of it is more joy, less ego, maximum impact for women.
Yes.
So here's the thing. Everybody, you are in an environment here. It's so funny, as I have Jen, who's one of my assistants, who reaches out and invites people to this group. That's what we do. And a lot of women are like, what's the catch? How much does it cost? I go,
yep.
Just be a leader. Be a leader
Mm-hmm.
in your department, at your home, of your business, you know, or a wannabe, be an owner, whatever, be at the top of your little world, big, giant world, whatever, and give and receive support, because there's not a safe place out there. And I don't say that, of course there are, but my design behind this is to give women, just give, like you're giving, Michael, and let them go, ooh, I like that. I'm going to pull that off the shelf and I'm going to go put it in my bag. And then I think I'd like to, you know, receive more support, or I want to go follow Michael in her virtual water cooler conversations, or dear bad boss, dear bad employee. That I'm kind of jealous I didn't think of. That's so cool. Anyway, so yay. Hey, look how fast we came back after my disconnect.
I know, it was great. I was just hot spot. I love it. Uh-oh, but now you froze again. Well, until she pops back in. Oh, there you are.
Oh, now you're frozen. Oh no.
Oh,
there we go. Okay, I'm back.
I was just going to say,
you're the best.
One last thing that you just reminded me of, because we have you in there too. We have a virtual bookstore. And when we started the bookstore during COVID also, the goal with the bookstore was to have a small fee for authors, and we'd help promote them. And then as we evolved and thinking about business resilience, we did the same thing that you do with this group. And we said, you know what, we're not going to charge the authors. What we're going to do is have a minimal effort, you know, meaning if you have a book and we approve it in the bookstore, we promote you on our social media channels once a month. And then we pick different authors, you know, for month, kind of author of the month. Now, where we're going with this, so if where we make any money is just, we do an affiliate link. So if somebody buys your book, you still make the same royalty, but we make a few pennies. And we use that data to see, are we hitting the right sources? Are we getting actual click-throughs? You know, so we're also using that to generate some SEO. But where we're going with the bookstore is when my community gets larger. In fact, starting this fall, we're going to have a book of the month club. And so the kind of like a what do you call it? A book? Yeah, like a book club. So it'll be open to our community, but we're also going to promote it in other channels. And so in that, the only expectation is that the authors that we choose will show up and do, you know, have a conversation live like this, so we can get people invested in their books. And we've taken, you know, different kinds of books, and we have some fiction and things, but our primary focus are things that make you better leaders and better employees. So how do you, we'll still have some things that are entrepreneurship and all that, but really the focus is how to be a better leader and how to be a better employee. And our goal, our vision with this is we will reach the point where we help sell a lot of books. So if anybody is part of this community and has written a book and would like to know about being in our bookstore, reach out as well. We just ask you to give us a couple of things. We ask you to do a little video, just like on a Zoom. You get on your own Zoom thing and you talk about, hi, I'm Michael Sherlock. I've written Sales Mixology and tell me more. And the reason I wrote these books is because, and you just tell a little story. We want to make it more personal because people will shop books, for instance, on Amazon, and they'll look at the ratings and all that, and they'll make decisions. But the real books that make an impact are the ones that somebody else recommends to us, and the ones where we feel a connection with the author. And that's what we want to do. We want to have people be able to say, oh, I like what Samantha has to say. I might have picked up, her book and looked at it on Amazon, but now that I hear why she wrote the book, now I not only want to read the book, but I want to be connected with her as well.
Especially if it's me. Just kidding.
Yeah.
Michael, do you have enough hours in the day to do all this yummy stuff?
Yes. And actually,
Okay.
my goal is to do not 15 hours a week, but to scale back. So I'm also working towards not working at all on Fridays unless it's a speaking
Amen.
engagement. So we're getting there. And I think that by the fall, we've been practicing lots of ways,
good.
but I think by the time we get to the fall, that will be in motion. And that again allows me to start to plan for the next phase of my life while still getting to do what I love and still building a business, because we're definitely in growth phase. So it's a different kind of growth. It's a different kind of focus, but man, it's fun.
Well, you answered your own question. What brings me joy? Where I love circling back to that, because that's really, I interviewed, people for the last couple of months. This has just been a fun little hobby. I don't plan on doing podcasts or anything like that. It's just been a give. And they love numbers. They love accounting. I love numbers when it comes to sales and income. I love those numbers. But if you sit there and make me do fractions and, accounting and like, I don't love that. That's not what brings me joy. Watching my bank account go up brings me joy.
Yeah.
So I think that it's okay for someone, let's say, I'm just going to go to the analytical mind. I have a client who she's so analytical, like incredibly analytical, loves spreadsheets, loves,
God love her.
Yeah. God love her, all that stuff. And was doing all the books and everything at a church, an English speaking church. And it's funny because when you ask her the question, what brings you joy? She's like, I'm really creative. I love art. I go, tell me more. So guess where she just pivoted her career? Tattoo artist. Tattoo artist.
Oh my
Tattoo
gosh.
artist.
Yeah, there you got the math and the art.
She's so blissful. She's so happy. It's a yes and.
Yeah.
So I think I want to put that bow out there, that thought out there. Ladies, if you ask yourself what brings me joy, and it seems completely out of what you do now, and you're not in a position just to walk away from what you do now. We're not suggesting you do that. I don't think, right, Michael? No, we're suggesting we're suggesting that you go, okay, so, and what else?
Yeah.
And it can be a yes and, not an either or. And you started the conversation, I believe, this morning. I love talking with you. With see, I lost my thought now. Dang it, you started it with multiple business streams. Okay, ladies, I cannot encourage or tell you this enough. Multiple. It doesn't mean you have to change businesses. It doesn't mean you have to go buy different businesses. But for instance, what Michael and I are sharing, and I'm going to speak to you for a second, is we were the product. We were the product. So if we're not on stage selling us, then we had to, ooh, I hate this word, pivot. Really hated that word. You know, it's so funny. I shared with a colleague yesterday, she's speaking in Las Vegas today, and I shared one of my sign-up sheets when people get to sign up after I speak. And it's funny because at the bottom of it, it shows my Skype address. That's how long I've been doing virtual.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my God, it's my Skype address. So find something that there's multiple streams.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
I have rental income. It's a multiple stream. Guess what? That hurt during COVID too. We had to switch gears a little bit because people weren't traveling, you know.
Yep.
But yeah, ask Michael about that. So will you do me this giant favor? Please, in the comments, put every way to find you and to follow you and to receive your guidance, because you're really brilliant. Well, it's true. I've got to know you for 3 years now. So
Thank
yeah. Any last comments or closings for our women in business networking community? Any good love and joy or, you know, support you want to offer?
Well, yeah, mostly I think, you know, find me, talk to me. I'd love to have conversations. The one thing I want to say is just kind of following it up with joy. So the weekly broadcast that I do as a part of my community, that we are renaming as the Enlightened Leader, the Enlightened Employee, I've tried to bring joy into each one. So none of my team knew this was going to happen yesterday. None of the people in the community knew this was going to happen. But my topic yesterday was how procrastination is hurting your career. And so when I showed up, and I don't know how well this is going to show, but I showed up like this. I had a face mask on. I had my hair in a thing, and you know, this robe on. Oh my God, I thought they were gonna. It was hilarious. And then I slowly removed the mask, and you know, my hair was actually done under that, and I had actually my clothes on under the robe. But I came on and I said, you know, I'm so sorry, you guys. I had so many things to do, but you know, dealing with, you know, my face care is important, and I know we have to do this broadcast, and I have figured out. Not that I figured out, but I know deep down in my soul that when I bring joy to others by making myself goofy or, you know, just not caring, all of a sudden, not only does my joy go up, but it really, the impact and reach becomes that more. And my team's like, oh my God, how are we going to use that to do promotional pieces? I'm like, you're going to use it just the way it is. I don't care if the world sees me like that. Let's do it. And that's the joy I think that we all want to bring when we really know we're doing the right thing, is when we feel that excitement.
Thank you. A common theme that we use every single Wednesday that we do these is do it imperfectly. So, and when I say do it imperfectly, I always mean, I go, I'm going to screw up. I don't care. You know, so if you're worried how other people are going to see you or blah, blah, then put on me. What would Sam do? She doesn't care. I really don't. I do care about people liking me. I think everybody does, you know. I want to be kind and giving and loving and smart and all those things. So please don't think I don't care, like ego. I don't care if I look like an idiot, because we all do. And if you do something that makes you look real,
all the better.
Right. That helps people identify with, oh, Michael, like, does all that stuff. She doesn't care. Oh my God, she's so secure in herself. I want to put Michael on when I'm feeling insecure. Right?
Exactly.
Little tools we give out there. All right, Michael Sherlock, I'm so grateful for you this morning, and thank you for being our host. People don't know that, but on Zoom, that's how you got to stay when I dropped off, because, well, we're doing it imperfectly. You will, of course, go in and put everything, how women can find you specifically and what you're doing. And then the other thing is, ladies, I'm going to do these most Wednesdays, but I'm going to be gone in a couple of weeks again. Summer. Anyway, and I'll run a replay, but I'd love you to sign up. if you have something to say, or if you want to be interviewed, or you have a give for the women in the community, then shoot me a message and let's get you going. Michael,
Thank you.
thank you, my love. I got a client, so bye, everybody.
Bye.